Hey, what's going on YouTube? It's Friday. Thank God it's Friday. And holy shit, what a beautiful day it is. I don't see a cloud in the sky. Yeah, it should be fun. So today what we got going on is me and Brian, my roommate, we're going to run to the junkyard because I need to go get a rear end for this S10 here. It's my roommate's, or I'm sorry. Ooh, let's move that out of the way. I need to go get a rear end for this S10. It's my buddy's, the guy I'm renting the house from. So his rear end is shot, so he needs a new one. We found one, but we weren't able to get it out. So I'll get more into that later. But right now I'm just waiting on Brian to get home from work, and we're gonna head out to the junkyard and get going. So next time you see me, we'll be at the junkyard or in the car on the way to the junkyard. You hear my dog freaking out. So see you guys in a few. Basically, what's happening is we got here yesterday. We pulled the whole rear end out. Got it all disconnected, right? But as you can see, they supported the whole way to the truck on the leaf springs. But we can't get the rear end out without taking the leaf springs off. Well, I didn't have like 4 extra dudes here to lift the truck up when it was closing time. So what I have to do is I have to use this hoist, jack the truck up, drop the leaf springs, pull the rear end out, lower the truck. We're good. That's what I'm doing right now. Let's hope this works. I need one of these. That was kind of nice. Alright. So, what the plan is, I'm going to undo this bolt and it'll just swing down and the whole rear end's going to fall on the ground. That should be fun. So, let's do it. Good. That was scary as fuck. So sketchy. What? Look at that. You want some wires? Super minty. Jesus. That's awesome. That is awesome. Oh boys, looks like they're getting dirty. Oh, are you serious right now?
Is there too much tension on it?
I might just jump the gears because it's hitting the gas tank right now. No, basically what's happening is the bolt's pushing inward this way and it's hitting the fuel tank.
Oh.
So if I wanted to take the front of the leaves off, I gotta drop the fuel tank. I'm not about that life. Back up to Sketchville, USA we go. That's how you do it. That's how it's done at the junkyard, son. Just kidding. This is probably the sketchiest shit I've ever done in my life. It's like, I am not okay with this. The day, you can see we get the axle out. So what I'm going to do today is I'm going to go ahead and get it cleaned up. I'm going to get it installed, get the old one out. So what I got to do first is I'm going to clean it up, because it's pretty. Well, it's not that bad. It's not that bad. But I'd like to have something clean going in. So what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna take some brake parts cleaner. I'm gonna spray all this residue down and stuff like that, and hit this with some degreaser. Even though it doesn't really need it, but just give it a good bath, give it a good wipe down. So I'm gonna do that, and see where we go from there. Here we go. And that's how you go through a whole can of brake clean. Alright, so now that I got the rear end all cleaned up, it definitely looks a lot better than it did. I'm going to go ahead and get the rest of the truck washed down, get all the grease and stuff off of that, and next, get the S10 of the truck up off the ground. Here we go. This is why I'm replacing this rear end. Let me see if I can get a good shot of it. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to rotate this drum back and forth, and what's going to happen is this will rotate as well. But see, I'm going to see if it'll be able to capture this thing going up and down as well as going. See how that... There's just a lot of play in that, and you can see all the saturation right here from the grease. It's all over his gas tank, and I don't know if you can catch it, but it's all up underneath his bed as well. So the pinion seal's shot, that's why it's leaking. And then also I pulled the fill plug, which is right there. That's where we put the rear diff fluid in there. I pulled that out and it had metal shavings in it, so that pinion bearing is probably toast. So I told him probably just be better just get a new rear end instead of having it sent out to a shop to get rebuilt. So we got one, we pulled in from a junkyard. That's the one that I cleaned off. There's no saturation on it or anything like that, and the yoke coming out of the rear end there was no play on it. So you got a 1-year warranty on it as well, so it's not like if it's bad he's out any money altogether. So so now what I'm going to do is I just wanted to show you guys that, let you know what's going on. So now what I'm going to do is I'm going to start just disconnect everything. Like I gotta disconnect the shocks. I gotta do these brake lines here, and then I gotta take the brakes apart. I gotta take the drums apart, and I gotta pull the e-brake cables out on both sides, disconnect this vent line here, and then I gotta disconnect these guys, the U-bolts on both sides. And then lastly, what you guys saw when I took the rear end out, super sketchy. So I gotta pull these bolts out here, drop the rear leaves, or drop the leaves out of the rear. Drop the rear bolts out of the leaf springs. There we go. Now I can finally say it. I'll be able to pull this rear end out and then get the new one in, and that's the goal for today. I just want to get the new rear end in the truck and bolted back up. I'm not going to hook the brake lines back up or the e-brake cables because he wants to put new brakes on this thing, so that's going to have to wait for tomorrow. But I will get the driveline hooked up and the rear end installed and the leaf springs back in place as well. So enough talk, let's do some work. Alright guys, quick update for you. So just what you saw me doing, just to kind of give you guys a rundown. So what I did was I took the wheel cylinders off both sides off the axle we got out at the junkyard, so I could put them on the brake line that's on the truck now, because I want to keep this brake line on the truck because this soft line, the rubber line's attached. So I want to keep all this intact, and I didn't want a bunch of brake fluid to leak out. As you can see, it started to leak out on the that rear plate there on both sides. So that's what's going on. Next I'm going to try, I'm gonna take the drums off, disassemble the rear brake system so I can get the e-brake cables detached, and then after that just gotta drop the rear leafs in the driveline and we're good to go. So let's get after it. Another quick little update for you. So I got the driveline disconnected, and what I like to do is, if there's hardware involved with certain things and I don't want to lose it, because I lose bolts and nuts all the time, I'll take like this little bracket that clamps the U-joints together onto the rear end. I just hand tighten in here a couple times, since these are going to be reused on the new rear end, just so I don't lose them and I know exactly where they're at. So now what I got to do, all I have left are the e-brake cables and the U-bolts. So now I gotta undo this mess right here just to get the e-brake cable out, which is all the way in the back. I don't know if you can see that. So what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna snap a couple pictures of the layout of everything, like what springs go where, levers that, this, that, and the other thing. 'Cause I don't do drum brakes a whole lot, and every time I do it, I always seem to forget. So I always take pictures of how everything goes, just in case, so I have a reference of how it goes. Now unfortunately, I can't just remove the e-brake cables and then put this rear end next to the new one and then put all the new hardware, brake shoes, wheel cylinders, all that on, and just, you know, have like a mirror image of it, if you will. So I'm gonna go ahead, I'm gonna get some pictures taken, and so once I'm satisfied with that, I'll get the U-bolts out, and it looks like we might not have to drop the rear leaf bolt. So, because what was happening was, if you look at the gap here, that's a much bigger gap than we had at the junkyard, since they put the steely was supporting the weight of the truck, like right here, and it was in turn just putting a load on the leaf spring, compressing it upwards, and me and Kyle weren't able to get it out. So, but I'm pretty confident that this will be able to slide out, so we're gonna give that a shot. And you'll probably see a struggle with it. If you do, awesome. But hopefully this bad boy will just come right out and we won't have to fight it. So yeah, I'm gonna start snapping some pictures, and here we go. This is where I had trouble with at the yard yesterday. There's I'll show you. So right here, you can see these little prongs that stick out. They expand, and it keeps that cable in place. And yesterday I just mangled the crap out of these things. So what I'm going to try to do is, I thought about maybe going and getting some zip ties to try it, but I'm going to see if I can get it out without any zip ties. Actually, I'm going to get some zip ties. I'll be right back. Oh, dude, that was legit, bro. got this disconnected and got the e-brake cables out, everything else. I got, like I said before, this brake line's out, the rear end's out, got all the U-bolts out, everything. So looks like she's ready to come out. So all I gotta do is I'm gonna drop this jack so this leaf spring here can drop all the way down, and we're gonna go ahead and we're gonna get this rear end out. So here we go. She's out. Bam. Didn't have to drop the leaf springs. Awesome. See if I can put some gloves on real quick. Show you guys how bad this rear end is. Now that it's out, you can see you definitely need to replace it for sure. So, whew, man, it's bad. All right. So, let's see. See if I can actually, let me set the camera down. So, I don't know if you can see that, but there's play in that going front to back. And then, yeah, it's all front to back. You can feel, you just rock it. You can actually rock that. You rock that yoke. It's not good. Luckily, this rear end does not do that. This one's pretty solid. So, we'll see what happens. Definitely excited. So, it's pretty awesome. Excited. So, now I'm gonna get the new one in, get the U-bolts on it, and call it a day. Let's do it. All right. All right, got the rear end in, the new one. Got four U-bolts in. I got the e-brake cables in, mounted, and in there, both sides. I just have to run the metal wire ties to hook it to the frame. Then I gotta swap the brake lines. Actually, just that soft line right there. Be good. But I'm ending the video right here. Call call it a night and get cleaned up, kind of dirty. So I'll continue tomorrow, get everything buttoned up. So, yeah.